Hi and welcome to Carnegie and our interview with Zwipe. I have with me Robert Puskaric, who's CEO at Zwipe. Hi Robert.
Thank you, Markus. Delighted to be here again.
Yeah, thank you for coming here and talk to us. You released operational update for the first quarter this morning.
Correct.
Maybe we start, a lot has happened during this quarter and this year for you strategically and it's been, you're going through this, these big changes. And you're now focusing entirely on access.
Yeah, in general, we communicated about the change in strategy, which means that we are not focusing on pay, even if we have a pay offering. So we are more kind of observing what is happening in the market, putting it on ice, and re-engaging if the market will pick up. But we are focusing all the resources and the staff that we have now on access, meaning more on security, right? That was announced in January, together with a restructuring where we unfortunately then had to lay off additional staff in order to kind of extend the runway with the cash that we have. Yeah.
And looking at the traction for which was part of the reason for access in the first half or second half of last year was very good. How has that developed? You kept establishing partnerships and developing the partnerships you have. What's the status right now?
When we some time ago, which is maybe more than a year ago, maybe 1.5 years ago, announced that we would kind of have two legs to stand on, which was both access and pay. Up until that moment, basically nothing had been done on access. It was like one person, mostly engaging with a few players in Germany, and it was not really kind of strategic. All the effort was put on pay, and then we communicated we will have two tracks, and we sized the market. We started hiring people. With a background and expertise on access, because you can't just take the pay people that know the banking sector and just move them across and say now you go and kind of establish a go-to-market model for access, because they don't know those players that are out there, right? So it took some time until we got people in, but eventually now we are covering the geographies that we want to have. And from January then, the whole focus is only, the whole company is targeted towards access. So you can say that having not been present at all and not being kind of marketing or trying to establish ourselves in access anywhere until 1.5 years ago, when we said now we're going to do it, we have for every quarter and for every month, for every quarter, for every half year that have passed, we have, of course, kind of grown our muscles, meaning our presence in every geography where we have selected to play. And that being then North America, both US and Canada. It's DACH, meaning Germany, Austria, Switzerland. It's the Nordics, Scandinavia. It's France, definitely. And then UK, and then we have lately added one more person to the team with a background from HID, which is one of our partners, that is now overlooking full-time Benelux and UK. And then we have we're observing and engaging case on case in Spain and Italy. So that's basically geography where we're playing, right? And the go-to-market model is that, yes, we are, in a few cases, I would say, on our own, engaging with end-user enterprises, the ones that will eventually use the card for their employees, right? But if you want to get some traction into this, you have to find a distributor, a reseller, which is like the top of the pyramid in the country, right? And those you typically need like one or two. And they, of course, want to try it out. They want to be convinced. They want to understand the market potential for a product like ours, right? And then they, in their turn, will engage with system integrator, security consultants, advisors, and installers that are out in the field installing, the readers, the controllers for the doors, and whatever have you. And then eventually you have exactly like a pyramid. So in the bottom you have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of enterprises out there in every country, right? That you can reach through the structure that you have built up. I would say that structure we have built in Sweden, definitely. We have it in France. We have had delays for several reasons, but we now have the right partners in the top in Germany, or in DACH, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. We have multiple partners of that kind because they are also kind of a little bit of sector oriented in a huge geography like North America, right? So you have those who are focusing more on airports, others more on data centers. So they are like a little bit different in their character. But in North America, we also have a very, very, very good presence and traction now. So those layers of distributors, resellers, and the next layer, which is then installers and system integrators, those layers are now established in most countries where we have selected to play. So now they are engaging with the end user companies, right? But every of these layers, they of course want to test the card, they want to convince, they want to kind of start using the card internally, so they are also convinced before they kind of start pushing. And we need to kind of help the first installment, meaning the value-added distributors, to train the next layer, right? So that they can carry our cards. So now you have, in a number of markets now, you can say that you have like 50 salespeople running around in Sweden, right? Because it's multiple system integrators and installers that have our cards in their hands now when they are visiting customers, which means government institutions, end user enterprises, they have our cards, right? So the one person that we have employed for the Nordics, that person now have help of 50 plus more salespeople that are out in the field. So if you ask me, have we spent the time wisely in order to try to build an infrastructure, a network of partners in order to be able to, run with this business and actually make some meaningful money down the road? I think we have done that. Where I'm disappointed is that we haven't been able to convert all of the stuff that we have done today into deals with end user enterprises.
But is that according to you just the timing? If we take the pyramid that you're talking about, and it kind of needs to filter through to get down to the bottom where the revenues are, that is it just a timing thing that
yes.
It hasn't flown, it's been too little time for it to flow through,
yes.
But you're convinced it will.
Yeah. And then sometimes in some of these countries we have signed up a partner, primarily then a distributor or a reseller, and then down the road, 6 months down the road, you notice that they are not pushing so hard, right? So then we need to reevaluate: is this the right partner to have, or do we need to find another one? Because time is of essence for us, right? Are they going to invest money? Are they going to kind of push these test kits out on their partners and in the end kind of end up with end user enterprises? I would say that we have a very good example in France that we started working with quite late, but we found the perfect partner, which is Zwipe, that we have communicated. Zwipe immediately ordered cards and readers so that you can do demos. And they immediately kind of, with the help of us, started rounding up their partners, which is the installers and system integrators, to educate them, to show them the cards, to discuss, how do you sell it, how do you promote it, what is the value proposition, and so on. And all of those are now out in the field on end user enterprises that are now popping up like mushrooms. So I think France is a very, very good example. When you find the right partners, it can go extremely fast. And basically France was really started engaging with seriously in February. And already now we have serious interest from end user enterprises that are very known brands.
And if I look at the ones that you have announced, like Berkshire Hathaway Energy, like Prosegur, you mentioned top 3 cloud and data center provider without saying the name. Those are end users, right? So
no,
they are
system integrators and installers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So some of these companies, they are the partners and suppliers to the top tier data centers in the world. Okay. then you can go and figure out who those are. But they are the ones that are providing security solutions to those companies. And it has gone to the extent where we are now, I mean, one thing is that you're standing there in the door and trying to promote your product and make them aware that this even exists, because many of them, they don't even know that, right? That you have cards that are biometric without batteries and all this stuff. When they know, I mean, it takes some time until they kind of internally like decide on what they want to do. But now we are invited, I would say, and that has happened lately, the last 3-4 weeks, we have officially been invited to RFPs. So I mean, they are requesting proposals, sharp proposals from us now. That has never happened before. So are we doing the right thing? Yes. Is it taking more time than expected? Yes. Or are we short on time? Yes, we are. But I don't think that we can stress this harder than we're actually doing with the limited amount of salespeople that we have and that we can afford to have. You can always say, but why don't you go and get more salespeople? We can't afford it.
And your job is mainly to get kind of the top of the pyramid that then flows through that. That's where you spend most of your time.
Yeah, and we are engaging with a few end user enterprises directly together with partners as well, because we have those contacts and the partners don't mind. Okay, but in most cases, they don't even allow us. So it's a little bit like, you know, the SCM, the smart card manufacturers. Not all of them are very kind of keen of us talking directly to the banks. Maybe they drag us along, maybe they let us kind of promote, and then, you know, you can go out and we continue talking with our customer, because it's their customer. You have to respect that, right? So in the cases where they ask for our support, of course we are helping out, right? But in many cases, and especially with the huge international companies, it's the system integrator or installers that are talking directly to their client.
We know that trade fairs is a critical thing for you and for others who's doing what you're doing, trying to build the business. And we had the IC West, I think, is one of the
ICS West, yes, in Vegas.
Yeah, which is one of the biggest trade fairs.
It's actually bigger than Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, which is huge according to me.
Yeah, so it's the biggest security trade fair in the world. What was the difference? I mean, it's been a year only. You've been in this business only for a year, but you were there last year and you were this year as well. What's the difference in perception between the 2 years?
I think that last year, that was like the first year where we participated in any of these shows in North America. So many of the partnerships that we are now developing and that we have developed and established, even if we haven't officially been able to kind of PR it because the companies don't want us to do that. That was like the initial contact that was made, right? Hello, we are, you know, and from that, now we're discussing, you know, leads. So they are kind of introducing us to their customers in these trade shows that we get to meet, right? So yes, 1 year have passed. 1 year ago, we maybe had, you know, the Richmond Airport, you know, Safe Skies with Tadera, then called Civics, going, and not much else in US. All these other things that we have mentioned for the last past 12 months have come from that show. And now we went there again, and now people know us, right? Now we're discussing engagements, not like who we are and what we have. They know that. So it's now it really gives hope for the future, but again, time is of essence, right? Because I mean, we only have fundings that will last a certain time, and we need to make best use of that, and we need to prove that we have market traction in terms of closing deals. Yes, we fully understand that.
And if you look at where you're targeting, because you target 3 verticals, you talk about the 3 verticals that you're targeting is airport, power plants, and data centers.
Yes.
Why these 3, and what is the traction among these verticals so far?
I think pretty early on it was I mean, airports, we have said all along, right? And I would say mainly due to 2 reasons. One reason is that if you win an airport, a major airport, it's like between 50 to 75, 80,000 employees. They are huge, right? And they have a need for high security. And today, most people are running around with cards with PIN codes, right? So it's easy for them to understand what type of enhancement in security it will mean to them. So that's an obvious one, and you have, quite few airports per country. They're easy to identify, and typically, you also know who are the installer system integrators and how you go about it. And we have gotten very good feedback from the Safe Sky report that came out, and Tadera is now with that report and with the knowledge of course targeting all the airports where they are present in North America. So if Richmond was where the test was conducted, there are tens and tens of, and up to 100 airports that are part of the Safe Skies Alliance that they are now targeting. And then we have another partner also that are targeting other big airports that we're working with as well. So we have good traction. Nobody have turned us down. Nothing is lost. It just takes a bit more time. Mm-hmm. When you come to data centers, we were pretty early on data centers as well. And here I must say that it has gone so far, just so that you understand why I am enthusiastic, even if I'm not bringing kind of money on the table today, is that one of the major players that are building data centers in the world, they have kind of taken our card and added that into their specification of what needs to be in the spec for data centers that you will build from here and now on. I mean, if you understand what that means, mm-hmm. That means that when you kind of go to someone and say, okay, now we want to build a data center and we want biometric cards to work there, that becomes like almost like a standard. So if you're in the spec, you have actually influenced the RFP or RFQ that is coming.
And if I look at all these,
to fit us,
because looking at the numbers, of course, the hard numbers speak a different language than your tone, your enthusiasm. And what kind of visibility do you have? Because it all makes sense, and you can see the pipeline, you can see the interest, you can see the kind of customers which are coming to you. But what kind of visibility do you have?
I know everything that we are working on because we're tracking it both in these verticals. You mentioned 3 verticals, which is then airports, power plants and data centers. I didn't talk about power plants, but power plants are like nuclear power plants or other type of power plants. Infrastructure, extremely important to protect and have high security. Also very good traction. And of course we hope that we can land one of these power plants also that is of kind of size and communicate that to the world, because it will also send an echo and a standard, right? Mm-hmm. And others will follow. And the fourth one is kind of more wide. It's more kind of government institutions where we have also seen a good traction that they want to increase security. So it's not like the small offices. It maybe starts with the head offices of these government institutions and multinational companies that in general want to increase, and tech companies that understands that it's pretty easy to increase security by just kind of changing cards instead of changing all the installations. So we have a number of good engagement there as well, because all the ones we're working with, you can't kind of put in these 3 verticals. There are kind of others that maybe you don't want to talk about verticals because they're just international companies, right? The outlook and the confidence. Knowing about all what we are doing, I was very confident already in November, December that we will close material deals that will send an echo to the market about that we are doing the right stuff through Q1. So am I disappointed standing here today not having been able to do that? Yes, I am. But at the same time, we haven't lost anything. The interest is higher than ever. We have more engagements than ever. But the complicated factor is the time aspect, right? Am I very confident that we're going to close things anytime soon? Yes, I am. But is it tomorrow? Is it in 6 weeks? I can't really tell.
No, but
I can't really tell.
Coming back to the pyramid, and if you're confident that that's all it is it hasn't trickled through yet.
Yes, correct.
So, and in the meantime, you have your cost savings program, which is ongoing. So you've already come down in cost, but how far have you come? How much is still to be reflected?
I mean, of course, you need to respect the different type of employment contracts that we have, which is kind of the majority of the cost out that we are seeing. So I mean, if you communicated this in January, by May we have full effect. You will see that in the Q2 report.
Excellent. Robert, thank you very much for coming and talk to us. I look forward to seeing the echoes in the near future. So speak to you soon.
Thank you for having me here, Markus, again.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you.